Hello and welcome. Today we're in you guessed it, the tier 9 Japanese destroyer, the Kitakaze. And yet again we are in a ranked battle. It's on the map Sleeping Giants, but because it's ranked, unlike yesterday's video, there are no tier 11 Kremlins around because they are not allowed in a ranked battle. Unless the ranked battle is tier 10, in which case, well, everybody suffers, I suppose. Except the people playing the Kremlin. Anyway, I start out by going immediately for the B cap, and I do this pretty much every single time while playing ranked on this map, because this is the free cap zone. It's 3 points for my ship, meaning that if worst comes to worst and somehow we end up losing, well, I'll at least have this tiny benefit that makes me slightly less likely to lose the star. And on top of that, I also think that the B2C line on this map is actually the better choice. I put out 2 concentration of force videos where I showed what, concentrating your forces can do, and I think on this map that would actually work even better. Well, slightly, in some terms, not in every way. Because, you see, if you go from the B2C cap, you could push in a fairly straightforward line there, because there are islands on your sides that will protect you from ships that will go towards the A cap, because they can't shoot through islands, luckily. And because of that, I think it would make a lot of sense to just take the B cap and then immediately push towards the C cap. Of course, this strategy doesn't really work in coordinated games though, like clan battles and whatnot, or it's less likely to succeed, because in clan battles, the ships that go to A then can immediately go towards your B cap. And because they are unopposed, they'll probably arrive there at the same time as you take the C cap, and, you can end up being in a worse situation. Unfortunately though, my team decided not to do such things, but I'm also experienced enough that I won't be arguing with them over this, because I know they're not gonna listen, so whatever, I'm just gonna do my own thing. Usually what happens is that if there are ships on the enemy team from the C cap sailing towards this direction, that is battleships, there's probably, or at least there's a good chance, there's a destroyer in the position I'm at, or somebody that will try to engage me. However, because I saw that none of the battleships were coming in this direction, I was fairly certain that no destroyer actually came here. So I just opened up on the Friedrich der Grosse while being behind an island, and because she's sailing away, I don't really care that I was even spotted for a while. And now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sail towards the C cap, and I don't really know what they can do to stop me. Meanwhile, our rune is... I don't actually know what that rune is doing. I do not see any tactical benefit from what she's doing. She basically sailed away at the start of the game, for God knows what reason. At least she's sailing closer now. Luckily I do have a Missouri that's coming over here too, but I don't think she's ever going to make it even to my position. Or at least it'll take her a very long time, because she is basically contending with a Yugamo. Right now I actually have a choice. I can turn around to try to protect my Missouri, but that's kind of a risk, because I don't know if the Yugamo actually is chasing the Missouri. I'm just guessing, right? And instead, I think the safer option is to go to this unprotected C cap, which actually means that we'll hold at least 2 cap zones. Well, we did hold the A cap for a while, but our Fletcher was a bit ambitious and was sunk by the enemy ships. Well, it seems the Yugamo is chasing the Missouri, but, well, Missouri is actually fairly decent against DDs, because she has a radar, and our really weird decision by the rune to sail away at the start actually seems to have ended up being positive, because she is now in a perfect position to defend our Missouri. Anyway, I am already taking the C cap. I'm also gonna help a little bit, even though it got me spotted, but I do have a smoke screen, and I think this is the appropriate time to use it. Especially because now I am able to lob quite a few shells at this Alaska. And something I learned during this ranked season, cruisers like Alaskas and whatnot really do not appreciate being shelled at by a Kitakaze. The damage output on a Kitakaze is enough to... It's enough that quite often the Kitakaze can literally just 1 versus 1 the Alaska and win. Because, well, Kitakaze has some very high DPM. I think it should actually be higher than Alaska's, and Kitakaze also gets to use smokescreen, and she is harder to hit than an Alaska and all those things. Of course, Alaska has a radar and a heal, so, you know, you can still play against the ship, but a good Kitakaze is something an Alaska does not wish to fight alone. With multiple people, though, it's different, but in this case, the Alaska is pretty much isolated because the enemy team basically took all their forces into the ACAP, and, well, there's nothing to help that Alaska. But then again, I don't have to fight her, because we hold the B and C caps. Time is in our favor. I mean, it's a 5 versus 5 right now, so it's completely okay. Although I do think our Soyuz is gonna go down soon. Luckily though, Aerroon, Missouri and Jean Bart are in positions where they are not at risk from being shot at by the enemy, so if they just turn around and stay in defensive positions, this is a very easily won game, because the enemy can't exactly go and sink them easily if they run away. Like, what are you gonna do? Chase Jean Bart and try to sink her? Yeah, that's gonna take forever. Meanwhile, the points will take in our favor, and we will just win the game. But I do have an Alaska over here that I can shell, so let's do that. Because you should always try to win as hard as you can. Especially since the enemy technically has a ship's advantage right now, since they sunk our Soyuz, but I think that's gonna change soon enough, considering the Alaska is down to 6k HP already. Yeah, she's radaring, but I'm not exactly afraid of it. So the plan is to just waste time and defend the B and C caps, and we will easily win this game. I say that that's the plan, that's my plan. My teammates disagree on that one. They don't explicitly say that, but if you look at the minimap you can tell that their plan is not to sit back and try to win the game. Their plan is to try to throw as hard as possible. Because that Jean Bart that I mentioned that could have turned around and ran away is rather close to an enemy battleship at this point. And the Aerroon that has a massive 14,000 HP found her courage at some point and is actually sailing closer to the enemy. I actually like the Aerroon at the start of the game more than the one we have right now, because while that one might have been a bit too cowardly, well, at least she wasn't committing Sudoku, which this one I think is. Because she's basically going and challenging Friedrich der Grosse, and I don't see how that's going to end well. I personally am gonna sit somewhere around here, and I'm gonna just smoke. And then I'm gonna shell that Friedrich der Grosse. Because I can, and she is probably going to be heading in this direction. She would have two choices, B or the C cap. I think she's gonna come for the B cap because, well, if you look at the Missouri, the Friedrich der Grosse will want her nose pointed towards the Missouri, and this cap zone is in a closer position to that. First of all, obviously, she's gonna sink the Aerroon, and there's nothing the Aerroon can really do about it. There was something she could have done, but right now that's not the case. Oh, Yugumo! Ooh, excellent! Let's shell her. Well, this does change my plans of smoking here a little bit. I'm definitely gonna smoke here, but I can't stay in the open like I did before, because that will unfortunately make me a prime torpedo target. Okay. I sat here a bit too long. Unfortunately, this got me spotted by the Friedrich der Grosse's Hydro. This was a mistake, but luckily I can disengage, since the Friedrich der Grosse is still busy with the rune. Somehow she's still alive. Kind of a mystery considering how little HP she had, but that's actually good for us, because that gives us time to deal damage to this Friedrich. Oh, she was focusing on the Missouri instead of the cruiser. Okay, that explains why she's still alive. But looking at the minimap, she looks pretty dead now. As does our Jean Bart, because I don't think she can fight the Missouri and the Soyuz alone. We do still have the Caps advantage, but that's a bit too many ships for me to fight. I'm making a mistake right now. I should be full on shelling this Friedrich der Grosse at this moment, because, well, my spotting went away just now, so I can't exactly continue doing that later. And there goes all of my teammates. This is a 1 versus 4 now. I have a massive, what is this, 28 points lead? Well, luckily I am taking into the points lead slowly, but unfortunately there is a big and angry battleship coming for the sea cap. These torpedoes have to be on point. Luckily I know exactly where she's going, so this should be fairly easy to hit. At least some of them, and then I can try to use my guns to try to finish her off. The question is, what is that Yugumo doing? Because if that Yugumo is heading straight for the B-cap with like speed boost and whatnot, that could be quite bad. What could also be bad is if the Missouri is actually heading towards the B-cap in a straight line, because it's gonna be difficult for me to estimate exactly when she would arrive. But it seems that my torpedoes have been quite a success, because that Friedrich der Grosse is not in a position to avoid them anymore. Which means that I will successfully defend the sea cap for now. Even if the Yugumo comes up, I should be able to fight her with my guns. Okay, Friedrich der Grosse went down, and now what's actually important is not the points we have, the 930 and 760. What's actually important is how many points are left until 1000. And that's actually how you can judge which team would win. And I was spotted for a moment, so Yugumo is somewhere, but she could also be in the middle. The reason I'm not sailing away is because I'm afraid that suddenly maybe Missouri starts capping B. It's very unlikely, but perhaps I didn't pay attention enough to the Missouri when she was last spotted. So she could appear at the B cap. Let's say we're at 999 points, Missouri appears at the B cap, and Yugumo enters the C cap. I will lose that game. But right now, I am confident in being able to at least survive against this Yugumo for a bit. But it seems that she is not actually coming for a fight. So this was a nice victory, I think. It wasn't as glorious as other solo warriors, but honestly, sometimes just staying alive is more important than being glorious. As you can see by my teammates that all decided to try to throw away a 1 game. It did give me the opportunity to get a nice solo warrior though. But I mean, this was a big throw by my teammates. If I hadn't tried to stay alive and got lucky on those torpedoes against that Friedrich, this could have very easily been a loss. And all they had to do to not throw this away like that was not rush towards the enemy when we were already significantly ahead. Because it's very easy to defend the B and C caps due to the islands, or at least dissuade the enemy from going there in a straightforward fashion. 115k damage kinda makes me feel like I've earned the solo warrior somewhat. But on the other hand, it does feel a little bit like it was just given to me for free. That Yugumo definitely could have played this a lot better. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your continued support, Kablamo, and I hope I'll see you guys next time.